Hi, it's Tyler from Russo Plant Care. Welcome to my houseplant tour. So this is the corner of the living room. So this is all lit by natural light. So we've got a really big east-facing window. Hey, Boo. You want in on this? Yeah? Can you handle someone filming in here while you're in here too? Is that a yes? Okay, well, we'll try this again. And it's not quite out far enough from the window to where it gets much direct light. You can see we've got the curtains up and those stay up almost all the time. We're almost never pulling those back. So you could say that this plant only gets indirect bright light. The goal of this setup was kind of test the limits of what could be done without a grow light, especially in a spot that doesn't get direct light. So far it's done okay. So we've been here since August. So in total it's been about 8 to 9 months. And so things are really settled in. So I've got a good idea of how things are doing, how things are gonna behave. And unsurprisingly, this Monstera just hasn't really done that well. You can see it's already outgrown the pole. You know, there's this piece back here that grew up and fell. My plan is to actually take this outside soon after I finish filming this video. Oh my gosh, kitty. Can you handle this? So if you look closely, you'll see that this is on a one-of-a-kind support. So this is something that I made in one day to kind of figure out if this design direction was going to work. And what I ended up learning was it's not quite exactly what I wanted. I think it looks great, but I ended up going in a different direction. But I like keeping these little one-day prototypes in the house, just like as a reminder of, you know, what else I could do. Oh my gosh, kitty. While I'm over here, I'll go ahead and talk about this little bench record console / speaker stand that I made for this place. We've got some big gray walls here, so you know, we decided it's cool if we add as much color as we want. So we picked out this rug, and then I designed this to kind of go along with it and pull together everything with some of these paintings and prints that we have. And I'm just like so happy how it came out. It's been, like I said, 9 months since we moved in, and it's great to have it feel complete. So this is one of my favorite corners of the house. There's a lot going on here. So everything up here sits on top of the refrigerator. I'm gonna go through everything one by one, but in total we've got a Maglux hiding back at the back. We've got my big veitchii, a Philodendron, a vitifolium, I'm not sure. I forget these names sometimes. We've got a Maglux crossed with a pap, a verrucosum, and I think that's it. So we're gonna start right here. This is just one of our regular moss pole supports, and what I did is I just spray painted one of our clear moss poles with Montana Gold spray paint. If you're interested in seeing how I did it, I've got a reel up on Russo ATL. It goes through how I did it, and it's actually turned out pretty good. You know, it's not chipping. The paint's on the outside, so I don't think will affect the plants. Don't quote me on that though, because I've only been doing it for a little bit. But I'm really happy with how it turned out. It's just a really easy way to add some color to the moss poles. So we've got the Maglux pap here. It's actually pushing out a new leaf right now. We've got the verrucosum that trailed down from the top of the refrigerator, and now it's starting to climb up. You can actually see through the back of it. I left a little window and it's already rooted in there. And I'm hoping it takes over the space, because verrucosums are definitely like one of my favorites. In general, I'm watering the moss pole about once a week. I found like the secret to keeping them damp is to really, really pack in the moss. Stay tuned, because I've got a video planned for that to kind of show all the tips and tricks that I have, because I know a lot of people really struggle to keep it damp enough for the roots to thrive. So now we've got the big veitchii. So this is obviously my favorite plant. I've grown it from a small little plant that I got from Tropical Plants that was maybe this big. I recently found a picture of it like a month or two after I got it, and I just can't believe how much it's grown. So it's been here since I'd say about October, and it's It's late May right now, and it's really settled in. Before here, it was in one of our other locations that is also just a normal room with normal humidity. And yeah, so like no humidifier. I just can't believe at how easygoing it's been. Essentially all of my plants grow in the same thing. It's a mixture of cocoa husk, cocoa coir, perlite, pumice, biochar, and I think that's it. And essentially all I do is I layer it on top as the plant grows, and as it grows above the pot, I use some pot extenders to give it a little bit more time before I need to repot. Hey, boo. She's been doing this all day, non-stop. No, it's fine. I think it'll be fine. It picks up on the mic too. Whatever. So you're probably wondering, how the heck do I water these things? So I've got this nice ladder stored under the couch. It pulls right out. Set it up in front of the refrigerator. And it's really easy to come up here and add water when I need it. Yeah, I can feel the moisture level, and what I typically do is water every, I try to push it every 5 days, but when a new leaf is coming out like this, I'll get up here every 2 to 3 days just to help out with growth, because the more you water it, the faster and the bigger the leaves will grow. Eventually, my plan is to get a pump and a reservoir up here so I can just fill the reservoir up maybe once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks, so that everything is taken care of. But for now, it's been, since last September, and I'm really happy with this setup. And I don't find it to be too cumbersome or too high maintenance. It's exactly the amount of care that I want to give it. So these are the balcony plants. We've got a gigas that's also has a ripsalis, and then we've got a bird's nest Anthurium that I'm not quite sure what the species name is, so if you know it, drop it in the comments. Over here we've got an orange marmalade that's been growing up one of my custom towers. This gigas has actually got 2 growth points on it, and I find that's great for filling it out. So yeah, these are just normal pendant lights, and again, I took my favorite spray paint, Montana Gold, and did a base layer of yellow, and then came back and did a light layer of orange to give it that cool gradient effect, and I'm really happy with how they turned out. So now we're in the bedroom. So you're essentially sitting about the spot where I wake up every morning. See my burle Marx flame and Solanum oleanum. But I got a lot to say about this plant. So there's another video, my last video that I put up, where I showed how I set up the grow light for this. And it's been, I don't know, I guess I did that video back in September or October, so a lot has happened since then. It's actually growing now. I saw a huge slowdown in growth from, September to February. I didn't essentially see anything. And then I got 1 leaf in February, and then between February and April, nothing. And then beginning of May, it just started growing again, and it's already starting to push the next leaf. I've heard from a lot of people that these are pretty slow, and I've kind of seen the same thing. And I'm kind of thinking it has to do mostly with temperature. Since it's warmed up, it's been pushing growth. Fingers crossed that things start growing a little bit more consistently. We've got a west-facing window right here, and a grow light right here. There's that 2-month period where this isn't going to get direct light, so I'm really glad I've got the grow light up here to make sure it's getting enough light during the day. This Solanum, so last time I filmed this, it was hanging way down here. These things just grow so fast. Take well to cutting too. When I cut them back, the growth comes back stronger, it's bigger, it's fuller, and it just seems a lot more healthy. So if you've got one of these and it's just not doing that great for you, maybe grow it out a little bit and then cut it back and see if that helps. Right now what I'm doing is I'm letting it grow up the pole, and once it gets up to the top, I'm gonna let it trail down again, and I'm hoping I can get this whole thing covered because it looks so good. And right next to it, we've got my Anthurium metallicum. So this is a special plant in the sense that it doesn't behave the same as my other Anthuriums. Metallicums are known to be found in higher elevations. So that means it's used to lower temperatures. Right now, it's kind of stopped growing. I find mine goes dormant in the summertime. Once temperatures get above, 68, it just really doesn't want to do too much. And I'm actually a little nervous about it because I've definitely lost these in the past. And what I've done in my old place is I've kept them in like a lower light situation, but this is getting blasted by light and I don't really have another place to put it. So it's kind of stuck here for now. It's not doing anything bad, but I'm just hoping it makes it through the summer, or, you know, maybe I'll find another place to put it to where it can be a little bit more happy. But yeah, this is definitely one of my favorite Anthuriums. I've tried to put this in higher humidity, higher growth conditions, and it just died on me. So now we're in the guest bedroom slash office, and behind me I've got my Monstera albo. So I waited so long before I finally got one. So I got it as a tiny little cutting, and this is actually the first leaf that came out when I got it, and it's grown to this size since then. So it's been about a year and a half that I've been growing it, and it's been in this space since about last October. It's on one of our hanging moss pole supports and just some clear moss poles. We are 1, 2, 3 units high, and those roots are in there. And it just keeps growing, and it's just so happy in the space. It really likes the light. I've got 2 track lights pointing at it for 12 hours a day. What you're looking at right here is essentially all grow light, and I'm really happy with how it's turning out. Like, the leaves are still getting a little bit bigger. I'll actually turn on the light for you. You can see that there's light focused on the bottom and on the top, and that's why I have 2 of them. You know, for high growth, the grow lights are really good for about 3 to 4 feet, and this plant right now is pushing around 6 feet. So I'm going to keep it here as long as possible just to see what happens. I'm watering this about once every 5 days, but you know, it's just hanging on a hook. You know, it's really easy to take down. I'm really easy to put back up. I'm just so happy with the plant. It's literally the albo of my dreams. I can't think of anything better. You know, for as long as this lasts, I'm happy to keep it here. So on the opposite wall, we've got my Spiritus Sancti. So this is, again, mounted up on one of the Rousseau moss poles. It comes on and off the wall pretty easy, and this Spiritus Sancti is actually floating on top of a clear moss pole. Up until a couple weeks ago, I had Anthurium panamense on the bottom. But what happened was they were starting to, you know, compete for space. The panamense was pushing deformed leaves because there was so much mechanical damage trying to get around the Spiritus Sancti. So I decided to just make the call and split them up. And I'm happy I did, because, you know, this thing is starting, again, trying to avoid the other plant. So it's a little bit sprawly, not quite as compact as I'd like. I know, you know, these typically do that either way, but I'm hoping now that there's some more breathing room, things will kind of tighten up a little bit. I got this last summer, and I think it was about this size maybe, or this size. And it's such an easy grower. It's grown so fast. It doesn't care about, you know, living in house conditions. It's easier than Anthuriums, you know, even easy when compared to other philodendrons, you know, because it's green, it holds on to its color a long time. Like, even, you know, some of these older leaves aren't showing much yellowing. Definitely a plant I recommend. You know, sooner or later, these are going to come way down in price as the tissue culture plants catch up. You know, there are probably greenhouses full of baby plants. Maybe later this year, maybe next year, these will be a lot more available. Down here on the bottom, I planted 2 Anthuriums. So these are some of my hybrids. My goal with this breeding line is to kind of have something that looked similar to the Ace of Purple and kind of similar to the Carla Pappy, but with stronger, more vigorous growth, you know, more tolerant to lower humidity. And so far it's been great. And then I also, as an experiment, planted another little plant in here. And with, you know, these Carlotza lines, you know, they're all variations of Carla hybrids. You know, I always publish the species names with the parent names just so that there's no confusion, because I really like to see what the lineage is, you know, what parents made it. Thanks again for watching my 2024 late spring houseplant update. I'm planning on doing another one later this summer. You know, I've got a lot of different things I'm planning, putting more lights up, track lights in the bathroom, putting plants outside. Like, I can't wait to see what happens, because I think there's going to be a lot of growth. If you have any questions, suggestions for future videos, drop them in the comments and I'll try to get to them.